Record will reflect that during the break, the court was made aware by the bailiff of a potential juror issue. As a result, I've asked counsel and Mr. Fleischauer, my court reporter and clerk, to join me in a more private area. However, if there are any members of the press, I will invite them to attend as well. But with that said, counsel, Mr. Fleischauer, court reporter, clerk, I want to see you in jury room 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it your CV, your curriculum vitae, your resume, whatever it is?
Yes, correct.
Is it a true and accurate summary of your training and education?
Yes, it is.
And what primary focus did your training and education have in relation to digital technology?
My focus was on digital evidence, computer forensics.
And when did you start having that kind of training?
I believe it was in 2008. I'm sorry, 2006.
Where were you working at that time?
I was working for the St. Croix County Sheriff's Office.
What was your job there?
I was, at that time, I was patrol deputy. And then in 2008, I moved over to investigations.
So you started learning about digital investigations as a patrol deputy?
That is correct.
All right. And what is digital evidence and digital evidence investigation?
Digital evidence is pretty much a computer, a cell phone, social media, pretty much anything that has to do with a computer or a cell phone.
And what is it that you learn about when you get educated about how to seize and recover that kind of evidence?
We learn how to, like for example, a cell phone, we learn how to connect it to the computer, extract the data from it, use software to parse out the information, and which puts it into a readable format that a person can read.
Move Exhibit 53 into evidence.
Received.
You said in 2006 when you learned about doing digital evidence, you were a deputy sheriff in the St. Croix County Sheriff's Office, is that correct?
That is correct.
When did you actually start with the St. Croix County Sheriff's Office?
I started with them in 1997.
And by then, for how long had you already been a police officer?
I began my police career in 1996, got hired in 1997 with the Sheriff's Office.
And you told us earlier that you became an investigator, or some of us might call it detective, in 2008?
Yes, correct.
And when did you end your law enforcement career with the St. Croix County Sheriff's Office?
June of 2019.
And you were still a detective at that, or investigator at that time, right?
Correct.
So that was an opportunity you had to retire, is that fair to say?
I'm sorry?
You retired?
Yes, correct.
All right. And to keep yourself from having to lean over into the microphone every time, it is literally able to be put anywhere so that you're close to it.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Is that
we
better?
do need you to talk into it so everybody can hear.
Yes.
Thanks. Is there a particular way or method that one goes about extracting the information out of a cell phone?
Yes, there is.
What's that called?
We utilize a system called Celebrite.
Can you spell that for us?
CELLEBRITE.
What does that allow you to do once you have a cell phone?
Basically, it's a mini computer that we can hook a cell phone up to through either Bluetooth or a cord between the two devices. We select what make and model it is, and we can extract the data from it.
In reference to obtaining digital information besides, and again, only as to relevance to this case, besides getting it out of a cell phone, what other ways do you go about obtaining the digital information people create in this modern digital age?
We also write search warrants for social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat.
Who do those search warrants go to?
Those go to the company themselves, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram.
What do they return to you?
They return information for a specific user that we requested.
Did you do that in relation to a Snapchat account belonging to Summer Fleischauer Johnson Fleischauer?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 57 for identification. Can you tell us if you recognize what that is, please?
That is a spreadsheet that I created for information received back from Snapchat.
What is it generally, well, let me ask a different question. The information you got back from the search warrant from Snapchat, did that include photographs?
Yes, correct.
Judge, asked to republish Exhibit 3 to the jury, please.
Okay.
Thank you. It'll be received first and then published.
I do move Exhibit 57.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Judge. Detective, on Exhibit 57, the Snapchat return, or your spreadsheet of the Snapchat return that you got from the company, did you discern a time for Exhibit 3?
Yes, I did.
And what time was that? Well, actually, let me ask the question first. Give me 1 second. In the right column of Exhibit 3, it has times, is that correct?
That's correct.
If you know, based on your training and experience, and have you done other Snapchat search warrants?
Yes, I have.
Are the times associated with the photographs in Snapchat the time that the photograph was taken or the time the photograph was sent as a snap?
I believe the date and time stamp that's associated with the file name is when the photo was uploaded or saved to Snapchat.
When you received the return on your search warrant from Snapchat, what are the times?
The times are listed in UTC time, which is...
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What?
The times are listed in UTC time, which is Universal Time Coordinates, which is basically your 0 mark.
And what do you have to do?
And what we have to do is convert it to Wisconsin time, which is Central Time. So you have to subtract -6 from the UTC time to get our current time here. Not unless it is daylight savings time, then you subtract 5 from it to get our current time.
So was it Central Time or Daylight Savings Time in April of 2018?
I believe it should have been daylight savings time.
So you, knowing all what you told us, you subtracted 5 in order to come up with the times that the snaps that we have were taken, is that correct?
That is correct.
So are you able to say what time the photograph Exhibit 3 was taken?
I would have to have a file name associated with it, so I know which one it was.
Ask to publish Exhibit 57.
Any objection, Mr.
No,
Chair?
Your Honor.
Thank you, granted.
Focusing just on April 13th of 2018, as your spreadsheet Exhibit 57 does, Mr. Demulling, would you tell me when the first Snapchat object is timed?
Yes, the first one is at 8:24, 15 seconds p.m.
And when's the last one timed?
1:21 and 39 seconds a.m.
And that would have been in the early morning hours of April 14th, 2018, is that correct?
That is correct.
When did you get assigned to the death investigation at 1489 142nd Street in Richmond Township?
I got a phone call early morning of April 14th.
So you were at home.
Yes, correct.
Who called you?
Dispatch was the original caller, asking me to call. I believe it was Deputy Coleman at the time who was on scene.
Once you got the call, where, if anywhere, did you go in relation to the case?
I went out to the house, to the scene.
Do you remember about what time you got there?
I don't recall what an exact time what it was.
Once you arrived, who either arrived with you or was there?
I believe there's several deputies already on scene, and then Investigator Mickle was already on scene too.
Investigator Mikla seated at council table with us?
Yes, correct.
What was your job once you were there?
Once I was there, it was just to see what happened, talk to the deputies, what they had found out, to get the information, and then to speak with Investigator Mikla. And then we went inside the house to observe the scene.
So where in the house did you go?
So we went in through the front door, up the stairs to the kitchen area.
Just to move things along. And so Chase Fleichauer was on the floor?
That is correct.
All right. And then where did you look around from there?
We kind of looked around in the kitchen, living room, dining room area.
Just without saying what it was, did you observe evidentiary type objects that had been mentioned to you by the officers you conferred with when you first got there?
Yes.
All right. So after you surveyed the dining room area, or surveyed the kitchen area around the island where Chase was, and the living room and the dining room area, where'd you go from there?
I believe at that time we decided that we were going to back out of the house, get a hold of the Wisconsin State Crime Lab, and obtain a search warrant for the house.
What was your responsibility then?
My responsibility at that time, I stayed on scene, and I got the information from the officers and then began to write the search warrant. Once I obtained the information from the officers, I believe I went back to the sheriff's office and started writing the warrant.
What did you write warrants to do? And I'm not talking about the Snapchat warrant now, I'm just talking about in relation to the house or any other person. What, if anything, did you ask a judge to authorize you to do?
I asked for authorization to go inside the house, collect evidence, and to search it.
And to do that, you have to establish, well, you have to relate to the judge information that you obtained from other police officers, is that correct?
That is correct.
What other search warrant did you write?
I also wrote another search warrant for the search of the Kayle Fleischauer.
Who'd you give that to?
I gave that to Investigator Mikla.
What did you do with the search warrant for the house?
I then drove it back up to the house.
Who did you meet there?
I believe at that time, I don't recall if the state crime lab was there or not, but there were still other officers there.
Was the crime lab with you then when you went into the house to execute the search warrant, or did you go in before they got there?
I believe we waited till they arrived and we did it together.
If I'm wrong, correct me, but were you ever at the house with another investigator or a crime scene investigator named Carrie Rose?
Yes, I believe he was there.
Would that have been at about the same time as the crime lab or before that? And if you don't remember, that's okay, I'm just asking.
I don't remember.
Okay. Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 62 for identification. Could you tell us if you recognize what that's a photograph of, please?
That is a photo of the bathroom upstairs.
Is that a scene that you recall seeing?
Yes.
And does it truly and accurately depict how the bathroom looked when you walked through the house?
Yes, correct.
Move Exhibit 62 into evidence.
No objection.
Received.
Move to publish.
Granted.
Detective, if one were facing the sink, what seems to be tipped over on the left side of the sink?
It appears to me to be a soap dispenser.
And what's on the floor on the left side of the sink?
I believe that would be a towel.
Thank you. Now, when you were there, and the crime lab came eventually,
Yes.
do you recall there was a time as they were going through the home that they, at some point, were taking a video recording of the thing?
Yes, correct.
And they also took photographs, is that correct?
That is correct.
If one were to walk down the hallway that we've seen many times from the kitchen to the north of the house on that upper level, what rooms are at the end of the hallway?
At the end of the hallway, there would be 2 bedrooms, one on the left, one on the right.
Do you recall whether you went into those?
At some point I did, yes. I don't remember when I did.
In relation to the room that actually had the bed in it, when you went in, do you recall whether or not the door was open or closed? The door of the room, I mean.
I don't remember.
All right, 1 second. At some point, though, you did go into that bed. It did go into a bedroom with a bed with a brown cover on the bed and stuff, right?
That is correct.
All right. And up near the head of the bed, on the left side of the bed, what was there?
That was a nightstand.
When you first observed the nightstand, do you remember whether the drawer was open or closed?
I believe it was closed.
Eventually, photos were taken of that drawer, is that correct?
That is correct.
And when the photos were taken, had you opened the drawer in order for the photos to be taken?
Yes, correct.
Showing us been marked as Exhibit 54 for identification. Could you tell us if you recognize what that's a photograph of, please?
That is a picture of the island in the kitchen with a red cup and a cell phone on it.
Do you recognize that cell phone?
I know I've seen it, yes.
Showing what's been marked as Exhibit 55 for identification. Could you tell us if you recognize what that object is, please?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That is a cell phone with a camel case on it that we associated with Kayle Fleischauer.
So you did, you used the processes that you described to us earlier to determine whose phone it was, and you determined it belonged to Kayle Fleischauer?
That is correct.
And is that phone 55 the same phone depicted in Exhibit 54 in the foreground of that photograph?
Yes.
Move 54 and 55 into evidence. Ask to publish 54.
No objection.
Granted and received.
Thank you. If you recall, some of the pictures we've seen have letters, some of the pictures we've seen had numbers. Do you know who put down letters and who put down numbers?
I don't remember.
In any event, you seized the phone.
Yes, correct.
Then, after you seized the phone, did you have an opportunity to use what you called the Celebrate program on it?
That is correct.
Were you able to extract the contents of the phone that you say was identified as having belonged to the defendant?
Yes, correct.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 56 for identification. Could you tell us if you recognize what that is, please?
Yes, that is a portion of the full extraction of text messages that a report that I created.
So you were able to extract not only the contents of the phone, but then to narrow what it is you were looking at. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And in Exhibit 56, what was it you were looking at?
These were text messages between Annette and Kayle.
And based on your investigation, who was Annette?
Annette, I believe, was Kayle's significant other at the time.
Does Exhibit 56 truly and accurately depict the text messages and photo exchanges between the defendant and this person, Annette, in the late night hours of April 13th, 2018?
Yes, it does.
Move to admit and publish.
No objection.
Without objection, received, granted.
Did you also do the conversion of times you talked about earlier?
Yes.
Or did the program do it for
The
you?
actual program did it.
Okay. Turning first to an exchange at 10:25 and 24 seconds p.m. on April 13th of 2018. Who was that message from?
That message was from Annette.
And what was the message?
Where are the kids?
Sorry. At 10:25 and 48 seconds, who messaged who?
That was a message to Annette from Kayle
What was the message?
saying heat, H-E-T-E.
And in your experience trying to discern, those of us who aren't all that great at pushing buttons on a cell phone, what did you determine that word to probably be?
Probably would be here.
At 10:26 and 3 seconds p.m., who messaged who?
That was to Annette from Kayle.
Saying what?
Summer has ink.
In your years of experience as a police officer and just as a person generally, what have you come to know the word ink to stand for?
Tattoo.
At 10:26 and 6 seconds, who messaged who?
To Annette from Kayle saying WTF.
Just so the record's clear that you're not saying this word on your own. In your experience as a police officer and in reviewing texts and computers and just generally living life, what does the acronym WTF stand for?
It means what the fuck.
Then at 10:26 and 44 seconds, what got sent?
It was a, to a net, and it was a picture attachment.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
It was to a net, and it was a picture sent.
So it's not to disrupt, so it's not to disrupt the electronics, Judge Beckus says. Showing you what's been marked, what is Exhibit 6. Can you tell us whether or not Exhibit 6 was the photograph that was sent out at that time?
Yes, it was.
And what was that photograph of?
It's a photograph of a tattoo on a leg.
And that photograph was sent, according to your investigation, from the defendant's cell phone, is that correct?
That is correct.
We have, Your Honor.
Sorry, was that, I asked you, Detective, was that at 10:26 and 44 seconds PM on April 13th of 2018?
That is correct.
At at 10:26 and 45 seconds, who messaged who?
That was from a net to Kayle.
What was the message?
What you mean?
At 10:26 and 50 seconds, who messaged who?
That was from a net to Kayle.
What'd she say?
That's nice ink.
At 10:27 and 16 seconds, who messaged who?
I'm sorry, 10:27 and 16 seconds.
Correct.
That was from a net to Kayle.
Saying?
What is WTF?
At 10:27 and 33 seconds, who messaged who?
From Kayle to a net.
What was the message?
Ha ha.
At 10:27 and 41 seconds, who messaged who?
That was from Kayle to a net.
What did he say?
We are fighting.
At 10:28 and 45 seconds, who messaged who?
From a net to Kayle.
Saying?
Who is?
At 10:29 and 31 seconds, who messaged who?
From a net to Kayle.
What was the message, if you can?
Question marks.
At 10:29 and 41 seconds, who messaged who?
From a net to Kayle.
What was the message?
We are at Green Mill, LOL, expensive.
In your experience as both an investigator and just a regular person dealing with this stuff, what's LOL stand for?
Laugh out loud.
At 10:30 and 26 seconds, who messaged who?
To a net from Kayle.
Saying?
Kids.
Just to go back for a second to give that some context, what was the message from a net to the defendant at 10:28 and 45 seconds?
It was. It says who is.
And in relation to the previous message, who was doing what?
I'm sorry.
Yep. The who is was in relation to the message at 10:27 and 41 seconds, correct?
Correct.
And that message was what?
We are fighting.
Then at 10:30 and 40 seconds, who messaged who?
That was from a net to Kayle.
What did she say?
You're fighting with kids.
At 10:30 and 42 seconds, who messaged who?
From a net to Kayle.
What was the message?
Why?
At 10:33 and 06 seconds, who messaged who?
From a net to Kayle. Saying hello.
At 10:33 and 12 seconds, who messaged who?
From a net to Kayle.
Message.
You better not be fighting.
At 10:33 and 16 seconds, who messaged who?
From a net to Kayle.
What was the
LO
message?
LOL, have fun.
From 10:30 and 26 seconds until, I'm sorry, from 10:30 and 40 seconds until 10:33 and 16 seconds, did the defendant answer her at all?
No.
Were you aware that you were dealing with a semi-automatic pistol?
Yes.
What happens to the fired or expended shell casing of a semi-automatic pistol after the gun goes off?
It gets extracted out of the gun.
To the best of your knowledge, when you were in there with the crime lab and participating in the search, had the expired shell casing been found yet?
At that point, no.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 58 for identification. Can you tell us what that's a photograph of, please?
Yes, that's a photograph of the front entryway, pointed towards the ups and down stairs, the stairs of the house.
What's on the floor in the entryway?
There's several pairs of shoes and a rug.
Does Exhibit 58 truly and accurately show how this entryway appeared when you came in?
Yes.
Now, move Exhibit 58 into evidence and ask to publish.
No objection.
Received, granted.
There's several different pair of shoes there, is that fair to say?
Correct.
On the right side of the photograph, there appears to be some sort of a table up against the wall that forms the wall of the closet, I guess?
Yes, correct.
All right. What's at the bottom of the table?
Bottom of the table is a pair of gray shoes and a black shoe and the carpet.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 59 for identification. Could you tell us what that's a photograph of, please?
That's a picture of the entryway taken from the stairs facing the front door of the rug with the shoes in the picture.
Now, Exhibit 59 appears to be a crime lab photo, is that correct?
That is correct.
And Exhibit 58 wasn't, was it?
Correct.
Do you know who took 58?
I believe that was the picture I took.
Without having yet asked to publish it, I do move Exhibit 59 in evidence.
No objection.
Received.
Thank you. How, if in any way, is 59 different from 58?
The couple pairs of the shoes had been moved.
Other than that, does Exhibit 59 truly and accurately show how that entryway area looked during the time the crime lab was there searching?
Yes, correct.
Ask to publish Exhibit 59.
No objection.
Granted.
Thank you. So at some point during the time that you were involved in searching the house, what, if anything, did you feel in the vicinity shown in Exhibit 59?
Kind of where the corner of the table is there, underneath the grayish, brownish rug, I felt a lump underneath it.
After you felt the lump, what did you do?
I moved the shoes, pulled the carpet back to see what it was.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 60 for identification. Could you tell us what that's a photograph of, please?
Yes, that's the crime lab photo of the carpet pulled back and what I located.
Does it truly and accurately show the relationship of the various things in the photograph when you found the empty shell casing?
Yes, correct.
Move Exhibit 60 into evidence, asked to publish.
No objection.
Received, granted.
So that gray pair of sneakers, running shoes, whatever they are, they were the ones that were in a little bit of a different place from when you first took your photograph, right?
That is correct.
Right. And now they're moved so the carpet could be pulled back.
Yes, correct.
So describe for us what you found under the carpeting.
Just a few inches out from the leg of the table, there was a spent cartridge from a gun.
And what's the red thing?
The red thing is a lanyard with St. Cloud University, I believe it was on there.
What was what was attached to it?
Keys.
Did you recover the empty shell casing?
Yes.
Showing you Exhibit 61. Can you tell us what that object is, please?
Yes, that is the cartridge that I recovered.
Move Exhibit 61 into evidence.
No objection.
Received.
Thank you. Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 63 for identification. Could you tell us what that's a photograph of, please?
Yes, that is a crime lab photo of the what I would call the master bedroom.
Does that truly and accurately depict how that bedroom looked as you were in there helping participate in the search for evidence?
Yes, it was.
Move Exhibit 63 into evidence.
No objection.
Received,
Asked to publish.
granted.
So what's on the right side of the bed as you're looking at the bed?
Up against the wall is another nightstand.
Was it black in color?
It was darker in color. I don't remember exact color.
All right. What's on the left side of the bed as you recall, because it's not in Exhibit 63?
Another nightstand.
Do you recall whether that nightstand was more or less a tannish color? Kind of like the bed?
I think it was a lighter color.
So that's the one we talked about earlier where you said you opened the drawer, is that correct?
That is correct.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 64 for identification. Could you tell us what that's a photograph of, please?
Yes, that is a picture of that nightstand, the lighter colored one on the left side of the bed.
You know, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the beginning of your answer. What'd you say?
Yes, that's the open drawer of the lighter colored nightstand left of the bed.
Who took this picture
I believe I took this picture.
after you opened the drawer?
Yes.
All right. And does it truly and accurately depict the interior of that drawer as it was when you just first opened it?
Yes.
All right. Move Exhibit 54 into evidence, asked 64 into evidence, and asked to publish.
No objection.
Received, granted.
What's in the upper left side of the photograph or of the drawer?
That is a black gun holster.
What's in the lower right-hand portion of the photograph, Exhibit 64, that's black in color?
That is a magazine for a gun, or what some people call a clip for a gun.
Did you then proceed to recover that evidence?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 65 for identification. Could you tell us what that object is, please?
Yes, that is the black holster that I recovered from the top drawer.
Move Exhibit 65 into evidence.
No objection.
Received,
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 66 for identification. Could you tell us what that object is, please?
Yes, that was the magazine that I had recovered from that open drawer also.
Move Exhibit 66 into evidence.
No objection.
Received.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 67 for identification. Could you tell us what that is a photograph of, please?
Yes, that is a picture of the magazine fully loaded.
And when you say fully loaded, do you recall how many rounds are in the clip?
I believe it was a 7.
Move Exhibit 67 into evidence. Asked to publish.
No objection.
Received, granted.
And that's the clip you found in the drawer that we can see in the background of Exhibit 67. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 68 for identification. Could you tell us what that's a photograph of, please?
Yes, that is a picture of the bottom of the magazine.
And does it truly accurately depict that magazine, the bottom of it, that you recovered from that nightstand drawer?
Yes, it does.
Move Exhibit 68 into evidence.
No objection.
Received,
Asked to publish.
granted.
What's it say?
The words on it, on the top part of it says Taurus, and then the bottom part says PT709.
Thank you. Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 69 for identification. I realize it's a paper bag, but are you able to tell us, based on writing on the contents of the bag, what is inside the bag?
Yes, that is a black shirt
Recovered by who?
by myself.
From where?
The living room.
I'm almost done, but just give me 1 second. I apologize. I've decided this would be a good time for a break, but I can assure the court the rest of my direct will be very short. When we
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break for lunch. I've been informed that lunch has been delivered. Again, don't form any opinions, do any discussions, start any deliberations, or any independent research, experiments, or anything else that would in some way impact on your fair, neutral, and impartial consideration of the evidence. With that said, bailiff will take you out. 45 minutes, we'll be ready to go. Thank you.
All rise.
Let's figure 1 o'clock, counsel. Thank you.
appreciate it, Judge. Thank you.